Hello students, welcome back. So in this video, we shall be studying about performance management. So let us first try to understand what is performance management. Performance management comprises of about 4 steps over here. So this process involves, the first thing is defining employee goals and their work efforts. The second step speaks about training the employees. The third step is about appraising the employees. And the fourth step speaks about rewarding the employees. So these 4 steps together comprises performance management. Now we will have to look at each of these steps individually and in detail. So first let us have a look at the first step over here, defining employee goals and work efforts. So in case you need to measure an employee's performance, the first thing that you need to do is you need to set standards and goals or expectations to the employee. Then you need to check whether the employee is meeting those expectations. So you have set certain expectations, the employee is meeting those expectations, it means his performance is good. You have set some expectations, but the employee is not meeting those expectations, it means the performance is not good. So one important thing to be noted over here is you need to make sure that there is clarity on expectations. See, we can understand that all companies would have made some kind of expectations in the form of job descriptions for their employees. So now let us take, for example, we are having a job description for a sales manager. These job descriptions will be quite general in nature. So some of the job descriptions will be, some of the general expectations would be, they should make sure that adequate number of products are sold. Another general expectation could be, the sales manager should make sure that the workforce, the sales force are happy. Another expectation can be the sales manager should ensure that the customers are happy. So these are all expectations or job descriptions which is expected out of the sales manager. But are these specific to that sales manager's job? It's general for all sales managers. But for our sales manager who's working in our company, there may be some specific goals that he has to achieve. See, for example, over here, one of the expectations of the sales manager can be to make sure that he is selling a target of 6 crore worth of products by the end of this year. That can be one of the expectations. So this is clearly measurable and it is quantified. It's extremely clear what the sales manager is expected to do. So at the end of the year, his expectation is 6 crore worth of sales. If he is not meeting the 6 crores worth of sales, it means that there is some problem in the performance which has to be corrected. Another expectation over here is the sales manager has to keep their sales force happy. This is general, but try to make it specific. In case you say that the attrition rate of the sales force should be less than 10%. So less than, if there are 100 people, less than 10 people should have quitted the company on their own. This, so which means that all the 90 people are happy. So this is one example that the sales force are happy. So if you quantify it in measurable terms, so how do you know that the sales force are happy? By looking at the attrition rate. So if you feel that the attrition rate is less than 10%, it means the sales force are motivated, which means the sales manager is doing a good job in terms of keeping their sales force happy. So this is the way in which quantification of the goals can be done. If this quantification is done, you can easily measure the performance. Then there is one more example can be given in case I'm speaking about production. So if I'm speaking about production, in case the goal states increase the production by 20%. People may not have the patience to calculate what is that 20%. On the other hand, instead of saying increase the production by 20%, in case you say increase the production by 300 units, then this is a much more understandable goal. So people will make sure that they are trying to achieve that 300 units worth of performance production target. So this is how defining the employee goals and the work expectations and the work efforts has to be carried out. So coming back to our process of performance management, the first thing is defining the employee goals and work efforts, which we just saw right now. Then the next thing here is training the employees. We have seen adequate content relating to how training is done, on the job training techniques, off the job training techniques. All these things we have seen in our previous videos. Even this last point over here, if you see rewarding employees also, we have seen this concept under wages and salary administration. So have a look at this third point over here, one of the process involved, which is appraising employees. So our video is mainly going to focus on this appraising employees, in other words, which is performance appraisal. Now, there are possibilities where in the exam, they may ask you what is the difference between performance management and performance appraisal. Performance management comprises of 4 stages, 4 processes, which includes the employee goals, training the employees, appraising the employees or doing performance appraisal, and finally rewarding the employees. Performance appraisal is a part of performance management. This is the main difference. And performance management is having a much more wider scope. Performance appraisal is limited only to this point over here. So when we are trying to understand appraising the employees, again, performance appraisal or appraising the employees again has a certain series of procedures. You're defining the job, deciding who will do the appraisal, conducting appraisal through various evaluation techniques, and finally you have the appraisal interview. Now let us have a look at, first of all, in case they ask you to define what do you understand by performance appraisal. So performance appraisal is where you are trying to evaluate the current performance or the past performance relative to the set goals or standards. I gave you an example a few minutes back. You're setting a target of 300 units for production within this 1 week. At the end of the 1 week, check whether the production manager has achieved that 300 units of production. If they have achieved 300 units of production or more, their performance is very good. If they have not achieved that 300 units, it means there is some deficiency in performance which has to be corrected. So one more example is how you can get details relating to performance appraisal is by way of feedback forms. If you want to understand one of your salesperson's ability in doing their job, one way is, yes, check how much units they have sold. Another one is check customer satisfaction level by way of a feedback form. So if customers are saying that, yes, the training provided by the salesman in me using this product is very good, it means the salesman has done a very good job. Supposing the customer is rating the salesman as only giving average training, having some communication problems, he has not convinced the customer on how to use that product, it means that there is average performance here, which has to be improved. So let's have a look at the next step involved in performance appraisal. So as I had already told you, there are 4 procedures involved in performance appraisal. One is defining the job, deciding who will do the appraisal, conducting the appraisal through various evaluation techniques, and finally the appraisal interview. So defining the job, we have already seen how it actually works. Then have a look at your second point over here, deciding who will do the appraisal. So this we will have to go in a little detail. Now, when you're deciding who is going to do the appraisal, appraisal can be done by all these methods or by all these parties. First point here is relating to performance appraisal is appraisal by the immediate supervisor. So this type of appraisal is mostly the heart of performance appraisal. So most of the times while you are evaluating a certain employee, the management normally takes a large consideration on what appraisal the supervisor or the immediate superior has given to his employee. See, because this supervisor is directly in connection with this employee. They are always constantly in touch and constantly um, communicating with the employee, constantly checking the employee's performance. So because of this, the feedback given by the supervisor or the superior to the management regarding the employee's performance is considered to be most reliable over here. Then have a look at the second point here. There is something called as peer appraisals. Peer appraisals means where appraisal is done by your own team members, by your own colleagues who are also there in the same level as you are in. Now, let's try to understand what advantages can be there by way of a peer appraisal. See, nowadays, all organizations, most of the organizations are working on the basis of teams. They want their teams to be quite high performing. Not any single individual is going to contribute much to the organization, but more will be contributed in the form of them working together as a team. So because of this, it is important for every employee to work along with the team in a very positive manner. So there should not be friction within each team. Within a team, if there is a lot of friction, work will not happen properly. To make sure that the teams are high performing, it's ultimately whom the employees who are comprising a team. So each of these employees, if they behave well with each other itself, the team will also be good in this case. So to make sure employees behave well with each other, this concept of peer appraisals has been introduced. So how does a peer appraisal work? We will just see. What happens in a peer appraisal is an employee chooses one of his team members. That particular team member will be the chairperson in terms of that appraisal activity. Now, this team member will choose one supervisor and 3 other team members. Now this one team member, the supervisor and 3 other team members, for example, 5 of them together who belong more or less to the same team will be appraising the performance of one employee. So what advantages of peer appraisals can be there? One advantage I had already told you, people will make sure that they are cooperating well with the other team members and work will move smoothly in terms of the organization's point of view. Another advantage is there will be better communication within the team members. Obviously, when you know that one of your team members is going to appraise your performance, you will make sure that you are in the good books of that other team member. So you will behave properly with that other team member. You will communicate well with the other team member. So all these things are taken care of. Second most important point is it will reduce the chances of something known as social loafing. What is social loafing is, it's very interesting to note, even you people might have come across this situation somewhere. Okay, see, you are together doing some kind of an group activity or some kind of a presentation you might be giving. Now, when you're doing this, you will notice that in a group of somewhere about 6 or 7 people, 4 of them are doing all the job, whereas the other 2 or 3 are not doing anything. Finally, during the time of the presentation, whatever topic is given to them, they just come and say something and they go back. But since they are there, a part of the team, their individual performance is shielded in some way. But other team members who have done an excellent presentation, they are the ones who have contributed to the good performance of the entire team. This is the same thing which happens even in offices also. In a group of, supposing a team is comprising of 7 or 8 members, 8 employees, 5 or 6 employees will work very well. 2 of the employees may just bask behind the efforts of the other team members. They will just take credit for the efforts of other team members. So this will lead to resentment somewhere. But when these peer appraisals are there, those team members who are not doing much of the work, they will automatically get scared that, okay, if I do not do my contribution here, my team members will give me a bad rating. Because of that fear itself, each and every member from the team will perform their duty to their utmost capacity. So this is one advantage of peer appraisals. And it ensures that there is better group cohesion. Cohesion means they are more stuck together. Okay, so and they communicate well, they are always together as a team. So this is called as group cohesion. There has been found a few disadvantages from peer appraisal. One of the problems with a peer appraisal is it can result in something called as log rolling. So what is log rolling here? Log rolling is where each of these team members, they speak amongst themselves and they decide with each other, okay, I will give you a good feedback, you give me a good feedback, I will give that person a good feedback, he's going to give me a good feedback. This way they will predetermine with each other that they are going to rate each other quite high irrespective of how performance might have been. But this is quite a rare phenomenon. Mostly people, they tend to feel resentful when one person may not work all that well. So normally speaking, peer appraisals tend to be quite advantageous for the company in keeping a tab on the performance of each team members. So the other members from a team will keep a tab on the performance of the individual team members here. Okay, so this is one of the advantages. Have a look at the third point here. Another technique of performance appraisal can be something known as rating committees. So what are rating committees is that uh, the appraisal is not done by one individual, but it is done by a committee of people. So this committee will mostly comprise of the superior of the employee. So how this works is that the committee will comprise of one immediate superior. If you see this chart, you will understand. Now you see here, these three employees superior is this person. These three employees superior is this person. These three employees superior, these three people's superior is this person here. So what happens in a rating committee is, supposing this person's performance has to be rated. So the rating happens from a committee which is formed by this person's immediate supervisor or superior and the other superiors also who are a part of the team. So the rating of this person will be done by a committee of this person, a committee of another superior who's not handling him directly, but he's also a superior pertaining to that job what employees are doing. Uh, so this person will be one of the committee members. This person will be one of the committee members. So these three people put together will appraise the performance of this person. So this is the way in which rating committees work. So what are the advantages of rating committees is, there may be a discrepancy. There may be a small difference between the way in which each of these superiors are rating the performance. But however, when you take the collective appraisal marks, what all of them have put together will normally reflect a more accurate appraisal relating to this employee. So this is where rating committees can work out. See, for example, this person is always in contact with this person being his immediate superior. Now, this person may not always be in contact with him, but he might have seen him doing the work somewhere. So because of this reason, just by way of observation, he knows what exactly he is doing. All right. Now, however, in case a misunderstanding comes between these two, he may give him a low appraisal, but this disadvantage can be nullified if these people's appraisal is also considered. They may be neutral in their stand towards this person. So because of which they will give a more accurate and correct rating. So a chance of bias and all those things can phenomenally come down in case you go for rating committees like how I explained. Then have a look at the fourth point over here. There is, have a look at this point over here, self-ratings. Self-ratings is nowadays increasingly, many companies are adopting the strategy. They are asking employees to rate themselves. How do you rate yourself? Out of 10, how do you rate yourself in terms of the performance you have delivered? Out of 10, how do you rate yourself in terms of being friendly with your team members? So these kind of self-rating surveys companies do take. So normally what happens is employees will rate themselves on a certain way. Along with self-ratings, this rating from the immediate supervisor or the rating committees can also take place. Now, finally, during the appraisal interview, after the performance appraisal is done, normally a one-to-one interview will take place between the employee and the superior, whoever is appraising. Here they can sort out their differences. This person would have rated something, this person would have rated something. They both will talk to each other and they will settle their differences in that way. So the next point here is appraisal by subordinates. So this is normally an appraisal which is called as upward feedback. So what happens in this kind of an appraisal is the subordinates anonymously, that is by revealing their names or anonymously by not revealing their names, they rate their superior. So the subordinates rate their superior. So what is the purpose behind the subordinate appraisal is the top management will try to understand whether there is any problem related to leadership style, whether there is any problem related to whether there is any specific people's problem which is coming up. Are most of the subordinates frustrated with their superior in some way? So all these things can be looked into and accordingly the management can take corrective actions on these. So the main objective, we should understand one thing. See, these 4 types of appraisal are normally done for evaluating the employee, probably to identify whether they can be promoted, to identify whether they need suggestions to correct themselves, to identify whether they need to be given an increase in their salary because of performance. So for all these things, these performance appraisals are done. But appraisal by subordinates is normally done to mainly take corrective action and for developmental purposes rather than evaluative purposes. So you can just check whether there are any leadership problems or supervisor related problems, and based on this, certain suggestions and corrective actions can be taken. And normally those managers who are rated anonymously by their subordinates, that is, subordinates are revealing their names while rating their managers, these managers normally take the appraisal more positively. Whereas those managers who are rated by their subordinates anonymously, they may not take it all that positively. But there is one thing we need to remember here. Supposing the subordinates are rating their superiors by revealing their names. Normally, since their identity is revealed, they will normally inflate the ratings because of fear of repercussions if they give bad ratings. So they are fearful where their supervisor will later take some kind of action against them. So because of which they will be inflating the ratings when they are rating the supervisor. Then finally, you have 360-degree feedback. So what you understand by 360-degree feedback is appraisal is coming from all possible directions. What are those possible directions here? It can be from the immediate supervisor is also conducting the performance appraisal. The peer is also, that is your own team members are also conducting the performance appraisal. You yourself are conducting the performance appraisal for your performance, and your subordinates are also conducting a performance appraisal relating to you. So all parties from different directions are conducting performance appraisal for you, which is known as 360-degree feedback. So with this, I will be stopping the video with this note. In the next video, we shall be studying about the other process related to performance appraisal, which is conducting the appraisal through various evaluation techniques. So thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video.